colder Sunday evening, but hey, the temps did rebound today. Welcome everybody for the top of the hour, 6 o'clock beginning. Our long trek on Sunday night, prime time, drive time entertainment, 6 shows tonight, original programming here on KOFO 122103.7 FM and listening live on KOFO.com, as well as in the podcast world. John Jacobson here with Coach Patrick J. Knapp Jr., the Georgetown legend, currently still doing TV for ESPN, women's hoops across the nation. He is a big shot development director still at New Mexico State University, coming to us from the desert plains. And guys, you are listening to us as Sean Torres, our studio engineer, is carrying this signal all the way from our radio ranch here in Ottawa, just south of Lawrence and west of Olathe, as we beam this signal to the world, to our online, but also on that AM/FM signal. We're going to Franklin, Lynn, Miami, Anderson, Osage, Johnson, Douglas counties. We've got our super intern and weekend sports guy, Grayson Lawson, on here with us. The high school 16-year-old with a good baritone set of pipes here. And it's like Randy Travis doing sports here on KOFO. And what a tremendous show tonight, guys. We're going to tackle what you want to tackle. That means NFL playoffs, college hoops, and the national championship game tomorrow night. So let's get started. Let's begin what I call that vaunted march to the trenches here. Coach Knapp is going to march us into the trenches. Well, Coach, we had a nail-biter and a blowout yesterday, 2 big games today as the NFL arcs its way toward the Super Bowl. And, Coach, you're probably going to have to smack some sense into me because I've been complaining vociferously all the way down to the Brandon Iron Bar and Grill last night, where the lovely and gracious Deborah and I had a great dinner with friends, and Aaron, who runs such a great steakhouse down there. We had the surf and turf steak and shrimp dinners. It was awesome as always, and a salute to those guys for having all of the giant flags for all of our armed services proudly displaying there as you walk in on a frigid Arctic evening. Spirits were warm. Yeah, mumbling about the games, Coach. Take it away. Give us your assessment of yesterday and lead us into today, and then we'll have Grayson opine as well. Coach Knapp, take it away.
Yeah, John, first of all, surf and turf in Kansas, in Ottawa, Kansas. What is that? I know what the turf is, but the surf, was that minnows
shrimp?
From the creek out there?
The shrimp are wonderful. This is all, I don't know how they do it. Everything is fresh, including, this is all right down in Princeton there. This is all organic, homegrown beef, no chemicals, no additives, no hormones, and you can taste the difference. Grayson, have you been there yet to that place in Princeton?
No, I have not. I read the top of it every single Saturday, but I have not been yet.
That'd be a great place to take a homecoming or prom date someday. And literally last night, there were babies there. There were really, really old people. They're a generation older than me. There were teenagers they were double, triple dating there at the booth. It was great. And it's steak and shrimp, Coach, for a great price, and the sides were awesome.
Well, I'm glad that you have a popular steakhouse nearby. I enjoy that myself. But we get into the NFL, and John, you are opining on the Brandon Cooks, Jaquan McMillan interception that took place. There's a long explanation online about what happened here. And
set it straight, Coach, because I trust you, Coach Knapp. I do. I mean, Coach, you're one who's disagreed with calls as the vaunted king of Georgetown for those decades, and even caught a technical once in a while, undeservedly, when you were trying to set those referees straight. So I'm gonna trust your call on this. Explain it to our rapt attention radio audience tonight, listening in from the Kansas City suburbs, from the capital of Topeka, where the legislature's in session, all the way over to Emporia, where the Wildcats are, all the way up to Lawrence, Rock Chalk Jayhawk. Take it away, Coach.
Well, essentially, the refereeing crew was saying that Cooks, the offensive receiver, did not have possession of the ball before it moved into McMillan's hands, McMillan being the defensive back. And because the ball didn't hit the ground, it was still live at that point. But according to the NFL rulebook, Cooks needed to do three things to demonstrate possession. First, he needed to have complete control of the ball with his hands or arms, which he did. Then he needed to be in bounds, which of course he was. Third, he needed to perform another act common to the game or maintain control of the ball long enough to do so, which is usually hit the ground or take a couple steps.
I've seen that still photo over and over. He's got the ball in his hands. His knee is on the turf. So correct me. Tell me why I'm wrong here, Coach.
If a player who has completed the first two, but not the third requirement for possession, contacts the ground and loses control of the ball, there's no possession.
Okay.
In essence, they're saying he lost control of the ball.
Gotcha.
The ball transferred from Cooks to McMillan when Cooks contacted the ground.
Okay.
So Cooks didn't meet the NFL's definition of possession. What made us all bat crazy was the review. First, we didn't know there was a review.
Exactly.
And we're yelling, review it, review it, review it. Then the review took like 30 seconds, which never happens that way.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the explanation there.
That explanation that you've given is entirely correct. I suppose there's subjectivity in the evaluation. And then the PI calls, the lack of PI calls, the NFL frustrates me, Coach.
Yeah, the first PI call I felt was incorrect. Without a doubt, the ball should not have been called against the Buffalo D-back. But the second one, the defensive back, and I have his name here somewhere. Anyway, the defensive back was tackling Marvin Mims Jr.
Absolutely.
And that was a definite PI. He was tackling him as he was going for the ball.
Yep. There was one that looked like it could have been called against Denver on the Bills receiver, where he was kind of grabbing his arm. Maybe not a catchable ball, but when you're running quickly like that, and it might have diverted his path, maybe that should have been called too on that drive. That would have put the Bills in scoring position for sure there.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. It was sad to see that Josh Allen
the hard luck team.
But Josh Allen himself will tell you throw two picks.
Yeah.
One of them obviously disputed, and you fumble twice. You probably don't deserve to win. So
5 turnovers is a big hill. Coach, what in the heck happened with that bizarre fumble that he had? Was he trying to pitch backwards, or did he just lose control of the ball? What was that about?
Well, he obviously lost control of the ball, in my opinion. But, yeah, he was, I don't know how much his injuries, and they don't obviously declare them too vividly because they don't want to make excuses. I don't know how much his injuries had him off balance or not the same with his hands or his legs. But, a lot of people thought Buffalo would go in and win that game. And, John, they were favored.
And Coach, as someone who's watched the Bills forever, they and the Vikings are the hard luck team, 0-4 Super Bowl records. Josh Allen and that coaching staff, this has been like 5, 6, 7 years. It's like the Mike Tomlin and the LaFleur. They can't get over the hump. And I feel badly for Josh Allen, obviously. It's, Marv Levy's going to have to live another year to see his Bills win a Super Bowl. Marv Levy at 100 in great shape, like William Shatner. They're going to have to keep drinking the same water that they're drinking and come out another year. Grayson, what was your take? Were you watching things closely?
I got to watch the fourth quarter at Texas Roadhouse. So I got to see the whole very close fourth quarter, and then OT, just those 2 PIs, and got him super close to the line to kick a field goal, and they just win it all. So, yeah, I got to watch it, and in Texas Roadhouse, it was great. The fourth quarter was very intense, just in all action.
Were kids your peerage, were they more Bills or were they more Denver fans because we're closer to Denver geographically and the Chiefs are in the division with Denver? What was your take on who people were rooting for here in the East Central Plains of Kansas?
I think it's really like split. Like I have a teacher at West Franklin that he's a really good Broncos fan, and then I think most of the kids really like Josh Allen, so that's when you can go for the Bills. But yeah, it's really split down the middle for, rooting for what team.
And then, Coach, that blowout afterwards, holy moly, talk about that game.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest, John. At halftime, I turned that off.
I think a lot of Americans
Seattle's
did,
defense,
Coach. Yeah.
Seattle's defense was smothering, period. And when you start the game with a kickoff return for a touchdown, which nobody does anymore.
Not in the NFL. Yeah.
No, San Francisco was in trouble. They pressured Brock Purdy to the hilt.
Yep.
And obviously, Seattle won the rushing game, kept it on the ground quite a bit. I still don't know how injured Sam Darnold is.
Exactly.
We shall see. He wasn't tested at all. So Seattle moves on to the winner of today's Chicago Bears game.
Let's talk about today's games. Now, obviously, folks listening in tonight, there's a slight delay. We record this program a few hours before it goes on air, so we don't know all of the results today, but take it where we are right now here, Coach. I think it's safe to say that we're at basically 3.5 hours before we go on air, so a lot is not known here, but we'll see what good predictors and prophets we are. Coach, what say you about today's games?
Well, I have Houston at New England, and if I were betting the game, and I'm not, but if I were, I would take New England. Now, Houston has the best defense in several categories in the NFL. Will Anderson Jr. at linebacker and edge rusher, and Daniel Hunter at defensive end are two Pro Bowlers, two of the best in the business. New England has to obviously keep them away from Drake May. But let me tell you something. Drake May has passed every test so far, John. This guy he passed for over 4,000 yards this year. And they have a balanced attack, but he has not been shaken. The other problem for Houston is the game before, a playoff game that they won, C.J. Stroud put the ball on the ground 5 times.
Right.
And he can't play that way if they're going to advance. But I'm taking New England to visit Denver next week. Denver with their backup QB being the starter.
Evaluate him, because there was a quarterback competition at the beginning of the year, and he thinks he's ready to play. Coach says he's ready to play. Talk about this QB, Coach. Do you think he can answer the bell for the Broncos?
My evaluation of Jarrett Stidham is that, he's a gamer. Sean Payton will have him ready to go. And you never know, John. You'll remember this name, but Phil Simms got hurt for the New York Giants. I forget what year it was. It might have been the late 80s. A guy by the name of Jeff Hostetler came off the bench and ran him through the playoffs, and they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
with their backup QB.
Indeed. There's always that backup quarterback. Zeke Bratkowski came in for the injured Bart Starr and kept that championship alive for Green Bay. The greatest backup ever, though, I still believe, Coach, and people of our age would need to know this firsthand. Earl Morrall for the Baltimore Colts came in and saved the season for the Baltimore Colts on one of their championship runs when Johnny Unitas was injured. Then Don Shula leaves the Colts, goes to the Miami Dolphins, brings Earl Morrall with him. Bob Greasy, the starter for the Dolphins, is out, and on an undefeated campaign where the Dolphins win the Super Bowl, Earl Morrall, albeit not in the Super Bowl game, Greasy got back in time for the Super Bowl, but basically Earl Morrall helped him win all those games during the regular season. Sometimes these backups really rise to the occasion, don't they, Coach?
Earl Morrall is a great example, no doubt about that. In this case, I think Earl Morrall, Bratkowski, and Hostetler all had more reps than Jarrett Stidham is going to have
Very
going
true.
into this big game.
Very true. Very true. Well said.
We shall see.
The other thing is, Grace, I want to tell you that the Raiders at one time had a stable of the Mad Bomber, Daryl LaMonica, a young Kenny the Snake Stabler, and a 46-year-old George Blanda. And, Coach, Al Davis and Madden put in who they needed, and somehow they got it done with those three, kind of, going around in different platoons.
Yeah, and there was another player. Maybe I'm wrong. Jim Plunkett won a Super Bowl.
For the Raiders.
I think he came off the bench not the Super Bowl year. He started that whole year.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You're right. But yeah, he came over from the Boston Patriots. He was deemed washed up, and then he got his second life under Al Davis of the Raiders. You're exactly correct about that.
Yeah. At one point in time, he came off the bench and played well for them. But then there was a year where he played the whole year. So Plunkett, again, the Raiders had numerous backups that came off the bench and were very successful. We have another game, John, big game. Rams at Chicago. It'll be 18 degrees and snowing at game time in Chicago, from what I read. I think Caleb Williams and the Chicago offense run by Ben Johnson is just extremely dynamic. But so is McVay's offense for the Rams and Matt Stafford. Who is going to handle the cold the best? The Rams, this is another crazy one. Yesterday, all week, Denver was minus 1.5. They were an underdog at home.
Interesting.
Well, Chicago's an underdog at home today.
Interesting.
Rams minus 3.5, but I'm going to take the over on that, which is 48.5 points.
Wow.
I could be wrong.
Wow.
I think both offenses are dynamic. However, the cold might chill them out. We shall see. But this will be the best game of the day, in my opinion.
I remember vividly the 69-70 divisional championship game from the NFC Central Division, with the 12-2 Minnesota Vikings hosting the 11-3 Los Angeles Rams up in the old Metropolitan Stadium. The Vikings edged out a win, and Coach, it was due to the weather, and that Green Bay Ice Bowl, the real edge was Jerry Kramer's block was so great that Bart Starr didn't even need a tush push to get over there on that frigid cold day. But weather, I think that's going to help the Bears, Coach. Grayson, what say you?
For the Rams, I truly think LA is going to win this. I mean, their playoff experience is definitely a big factor in this. And then just late game pressure, I think they're going to show up late. It's going to be a really high scoring, close game. But I think, LA is going to come out. And, of course, I got to root for them because, I told you guys this last week. I got a buddy that wears, the socks of LA. And so I got to root for LA. I'm all in.
What about those other two games, or the other game today, Grayson, that we're talking about?
Texans and New England?
Yeah.
I think Houston. Just the way they've been playing recently. I know it's kind of weird to say that, but I think they have good confidence, and I just think they have way more ways to score than New England. I think they'll definitely beat New England.
Our weekend intern sports maverick here, Grayson Lawson. Grayson, were you surprised by the blowout victory of the Seahawks over the Niners?
Definitely. Walker's was on fire. I mean, every goal, it was just, 641 is bad. And then the opening kickoff with the return touchdown.
That's a portent of things, isn't it?
It was a blowout.
Well, we'll tap Coach's superb hoops expertise here coming up. Guys, I want to tell you, we want to thank our sponsors, Jim and Cindy Jandron, through Midwest Renewable Energy, LLC. Energy for a strong America. Ethanol, renewable fuels, is lean, is clean, and it's green on the East Central Plains of Nebraska. Farm revenue vectors and consolidating the ability of our Midwest family farmers to add additional revenues, as well as helping make America energy independent, as a lot of this goes into fuel. And of course, it helps us keep control of our own food supply. Not the big corporatists, but our ag families, because they get to continue their farming with this extra revenue, and it keeps our food supply safe. Also, Jim and Cindy sponsoring Life Runners. Go to liferunners.org. Get your t-shirt like the lovely and gracious Deborah Jacobson. Run and walk for life, helping expectant mothers and their babies both before and after they are born. Oftentimes doing student runs and walks across America, including culminating the end of many of their great cross-country, cross-nation events here just down the road in Atchison at the great Benedictine College. Coach, let's talk hoops. Well, I did a bucket list thing, Coach. I got down to the Fog Allen Fieldhouse of legend, the Naismith Capitol, the memorabilia, the historicity, the notorious student section. Coach, it is a spectacle. You know, it's like the Iowa Wave at the hospital, the Indy 500, going to Notre Dame for football there, and seeing the touchdown Jesus mural there at the end of the stadium. I'm a believer. The Fog TV does not do it justice, Coach. It's really a thing there. What say you?
Well, it is one of the top college basketball venues in the country forever. I don't think the Palestra in Philadelphia is anymore because they don't get the crowds and the rivalries. But Cameron Indoor Stadium at Duke is always mentioned.
Yep.
And there's a good chance that Fog Allen is number one right now. So how was it, John? Loud?
Oh, my goodness. 122 decibels. They did the decibel register reading there. And Grayson, that student section is just nuts. They're crazy. I've never seen such a vibe from students. You got 10,000 of them reading the daily campus newspaper while they're introducing the Iowa State kids, which is a nice touch. When they were just beating Iowa State like a rented mule at the end, both ends of the court unfurled gigantic, like 100-foot by 100-foot blue KU crowds that cover the entire student sections like canopies. Like I said, 122 decibels. There were, between the cheer and the dance teams, there were always like 40 women surrounding the court. It was incredible. Have you been out there, Grayson, for a game yet?
No, I haven't been there for a game. I went there for a concert last year, which was fun.
I doubt it was louder than the crowd was the other night against Iowa State.
Definitely not.
Coach, this guy named Peterson, he almost levitates. That guy's vertical jump is like 6 feet in the air. I don't know how anybody could stop that guy. And when I watched that game against then undefeated Iowa State the other night, I thought to myself, there is no team in the nation who could have defeated KU that night at the Fog. KU was shooting over 50% from the field, and Peterson was playing lights out.
Yeah, and the other thing that the Jayhawks did from the get-go is they jumped into the faces of Iowa State.
Oh, yeah.
Great first half defense. They held them to 24% shooting in the first half, John.
Oh, it was brutal. With 2 minutes left, Iowa State was 5 for 24. They rallied a little bit those last 2 minutes, but Coach, you nailed it. Just ice cold shooting. And some of that was the defensive schematic, as you said.
Yeah, I have to tell you that Iowa State really took the lump that night. Some of their key players, Joshua Jefferson had 12 points and 5 turnovers. Tamin Lipsey, who's a great guard for them, shot 4 for 15. The Jayhawks were all over them. Trey White, John, had 19 points, 5 for 7 3, and 10 rebounds. And the other key for Kansas was they only had 9 turnovers against one of the top 3 defensive teams in the nation, which is Iowa State. That's their calling card. So they thoroughly beat Iowa State. They backed it up with another game at home against Baylor.
Yes.
They won 80-62. Darren Peterson had 26 points. I think his leg issues are subsiding. He's getting more regular minutes and rotations. Again, another key for the Jayhawks in the Baylor game, John, only 4 turnovers.
Yeah.
And it's the second straight game where they shot over 50%. So Kansas may be getting into gear.
I think they are, Coach. And, Coach, Peterson's got to be the number 1 NBA draft pick. What say you?
I think with the way he shoots, I like him better than Boozer. The the guy from BYU is at the top of everybody's list. Peterson is not.
That's
right
true.
now.
I stand corrected, actually. You're right about that, Coach.
Bonanza, I always mispronounce his name. Bonanza, 6'8", 6'9", wing, outstanding defensive player, and has all the skills on offense. But I tell you what, Peterson, you leave him open, he's drilling a three. He can really shoot the ball.
He can. Grayson, do you think there's a pep in the step now in these KU fans after these successive victories? They're looking better.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we play Colorado next game, and then the game after that, it's K-State. So that's going to be a great game for KU. I'm really excited. I think the way they've been playing, they're going to dominate K-State. But if we're talking about the Baylor game, 80-62, at home, I think KU got out early, pushed the pace, overwhelmed Baylor. They protected the ball really well, played solid defense, and then they shot great on offense. They controlled the entire game, really just showed KU's dominance on the court.
Well, guys, we've got enough time to talk about tomorrow night. National Football Championship at the university level. Miami v. Indiana. Primetime national television audience, what we've all been waiting for. Cinderella Story Hoosiers and re-wake the Echoes. Miami, a resurgent team. Coach, take it away. Your picks.
Miami hosting Indiana in the national championship game because the game is at Miami in the Dolphins Stadium. Before this weekend, the line was Indiana by 7.5. They were favored. Now it's up to 8.5. You take Indiana, it's at 8.5. How about these stats, John? Fernando Mendoza has a 41-6 passing ratio, which means 41 touchdowns and 6 interceptions.
Wow.
And just 5 incompletions.
Oh, my goodness.
Since winning the Heisman.
Oh, my goodness.
Just 5 incompletions.
That's
they have
spectacular.
5 skilled players on their team, 3 receivers, 2 running backs, who all have great stats. Indiana has the number 12 run game in the country. They gain 218 yards per game, 5.3 yards per carry. However, the Hurricanes have one of the top run defenses in the country. They only give up 75 rushing yards a game, and they have 45 sacks on the year. John, this should be a good game. I do believe Indiana will win. They have more offensive areas on the floor, on the field that are dangerous. Miami has played a tougher schedule, number 11 to number 25 for Indiana. I believe Indiana wins 27-17, making the call.
Wow, Coach. Well, I want that to be the case. My Iowa Hawkeyes were a walk-off field goal away from beating Indiana and Oregon, both. I'm rooting for the Big Ten. Before I get Grayson's take, here's what worries me. And Grayson's too young to remember this, but the greatest team, I believe, in college football history never to win a national title was the 1983 Nebraska Cornhuskers, who had to go down and play undefeated Miami in the Miami Orange Bowl on January 1, 1984. Bob Trumpy and Don Crickey on the call for NBC. Howard Schnellenberger flying into the stadium with a helicopter. And that great Miami surges that 31-17 lead. The Huskers strike back, score 2 late touchdowns. Tom Osborne, because we were before overtime, could have kicked the extra point, tied the game, and won the national title. Goes for 2 with that great backfield of Heisman Trophy winner Mike Rozier, great quarterback Turner Gill, Irving the Flyer, and Mark Shalene at fullback. The 2-point conversion fails. Miami wins at home. How big is that home field advantage for Miami? Grayson, what's your call on this game?
Miami's home advantage is definitely a big factor. I mean, I was all in on Indiana winning until they said that. And then it's it's kind of iffy. But I think Indiana is going to definitely come out on top. They've been very consistent this whole season. They're 14-0. They still have no 5-star players. And then the number 1 seed. And people talk about Miami and their great defense. But if you watch the Ole Miss game, yes, they played great defense, definitely. But you could see it fall fall apart sometimes, and they were just like running around on the field not knowing what to do. So I think definitely Indiana is going to dominate in this game. I think it's going to be close, but yeah, they're definitely going to come out on top.
Well, guys,
John?
yeah, Coach, back to you.
Yeah, real quick,
Yeah.
when you talk about the crowd, Indiana has the largest active living alumni base in the nation.
Amazing. That's an amazing
and
stat,
they
Coach.
travel. The game is in Miami. I think a good prop bet is I'll bet you there's more red in the stands than there is green and orange.
Wow.
So we'll wait and see.
Great take by Coach. So it may be knock, knock, who's here? So anyway, Coach, before we sign off, you've got that great podcast. You're back up and revving. And Coach, tell them about that great video interview you did with one of your alumna ball players. It was awesome. I was laughing all the way through it. Great humor, great bonding. She loves you. Talk about that great interview while we got a minute here.
I think Sarah Jenkins, head coach at the University
Yes.
of Delaware, visited us
Yes.
here at New Mexico State. Sarah played for me at Georgetown 2002, 3, and 4 before I left for the Penn job. She has a great sense of humor. That interview is on the Delaware Sports Information website if you want to pick it up. And our play-by-play podcast, January 26th, we have a different twist. It won't be sports. It'll be the super women talking about their different videos on hacks or shortcuts in life, anything from travel to cooking in the kitchen to raising kids. These two women I saw grow up when I lived in Gaithersburg, Maryland, and now they're very successful business women on their own, but they have these little snippets on Facebook. Look up Super Women. We will interview them next week.
Awesome, guys. Play-by-play with Patrick Knapp and Jerry Busson anywhere where you can get podcasts, including Spotify, iHeart. Want to thank Jim and Cindy Jandrin for sponsoring this show through Midwest Renewable Energy, LLC, Renewable Fuels, Ethanol, Energy for a Strong America. It's lean, it's clean, and it's green. And for their great pro-life work that they do by sponsoring Life Runners, run by Dr. Pat Castle, great U.S. military veteran and PhD who has taught many of our troops, just a tremendous man. He is now heading up worldwide Life Runners, tens of thousands of people. Part of this, just recently honored in Vatican City for his great work. Run or walk for life, build that culture of life. Get on the website liferunners.org, like the lovely and gracious Deborah Jacobson does. Run and walk for life, helping expectant mothers and their babies both before and after they are born. For Coach Patrick J. Knapp Jr., the Georgetown legend, Grayson Lawson, Sean Torres, yours truly, John Jacobson here. Stay tuned for the rest of our great programming tonight. Catch the podcast on KOFO.com. And in the meantime, be safe, be smart, be good, be strong. Love Jesus Christ. And God bless us, everyone. Stay warm here on the plains. Watch the weather. Till we meet again. Bye-bye.